Hey babe, have you missed me? It's Leah, your girl from Not Your Mama's MLM podcast. I am so sorry, babe. It has been crazy and I have just been slacking, to be honest. I've not been on the podcast. I have been working my butt off. I wish I could actually say I've been working my butt off. I have not been working out, have not been at the gym, have not been doing what I've been supposed to be doing here, but I have been working my butt off in terms of the back office and the business and the things that I've been putting into place and all of the deals. But at the same time, I have been slacking and actually showing up every day and letting people know that I am still alive and I am still here and that I have a message and that together, between me and you and spreading this message that we have, this passion that we have, it's bigger than me, and I have to show up to serve. And I had a buddy this week reach out to me. We're in a fellow group and never spoken to him, but we actually are in a couple different groups together. And he actually has a really popular podcast in the MLM space as well. And I've been listening to him. Actually, when he wrote me, it's funny because I admitted right up front, I'm like, oh yeah, I know who you are. I've been binge listening to your podcast recently. And he's like, oh my God, I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a scary thing. Like, are you a stalker? And I'm like, no, it's all good. I'm not stalking you. I just, one of the things that I find is that I binge listen to those that are leading the way. Those are those people that I admire. And, he's on my list, obviously, because I feel like his message is really speaking to me. And then in turn, my message speaks to you. And one of the things I mentioned to him is the fact that, it's really frustrating to me that the voices of this new generation of MLMers there's no feminine voice in the MLM space. There's no one big enough. And I've done a lot of searching or the ones that I have listened to are still very old school in their methodology of what they're teaching and what they're training people to do. They're still teaching people to make friends and be online and to reach out to people and to do all of the things that have been working since the 80s but aren't as effective as what these guys have been doing in the internet marketing and the MLM and the direct response marketing and affiliate marketing. And I'm realizing that we need a bigger voice. We need the feminine touch, which includes a couple other things. It's just having another voice and letting people know and letting you women know that it is not just for the guys. So anyway, he reached out to me and challenged me in a sense because, he asked me what I was working on right now and how funnels were working for me in the business and how we're doing things. And, if I was the first person in our company to be doing this kind of stuff. And honestly, I'm the first person in the way that I am doing it to be implementing it. I have seen some of the people in my company kind of half-assing it in a way. They're adding some of those details, but they're not doing all of them, or they're not doing it to the extent that I am doing it and all the layers that I'm adding to it to really create automated systems for our team. And he said, okay, so what's holding you back? And I said, honestly, I haven't launched it because there are a few minor elements that are missing. I don't have the testimonials that I want. I don't have the video of my story ready to go. And I don't have the new presentation the way I want it done. But he's like, okay, so what would it take to get those done before the end of the year? So it was like a miniature coaching call here via Facebook Messenger, by the way, without being a coach. He just reached out to me randomly and started talking. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to finish it up this week. I'm going to have it launched by Friday. Well, it is Friday, y'all, and it is not ready to go. It is not launched. I bit off more than I can chew. This is actually part of my MO in life. This is part of who I am. Even going back to me as a child, if you talk to my mom about sending me into my room to clean, I would get into my room and I would start cleaning, and about 30 to 40 minutes later, she'd come into the room and everything was off the walls and everything was out of the cupboards and everything was out of the closet and everything was laid out on the floor, and I would be in the corner reading a book. Because what happens with me, and this is something I've come to realize over the past couple years, and I've come up with some tactics that have really helped me to actually get through it a little bit. But what happens is when I take on a revamp project, or if I take on an overhaul, or the biggest way it shows up in my life is cleanup, whatever I have to clean in my house, I get extremely overwhelmed, because for me, it's not a surface level thing. It is a deep dive thing. I have to go deep into something and fix it all, and it all has to be perfect. And so what ends up happening is I pull out all of the cobwebs. I revamp everything. I make everything spick and span, and I have to make everything, like I have to touch every element and change every element in order to make it better at the same time that I'm supposed to be just cleaning up. Instead of going in and just putting things away, I have to go back in and organize it all as well. But what happens is, as I'm doing all of that, I get overwhelmed and I space out and I start to freak out. And the anxiety in me, which I've never recognized as anxiety, but now I do recognize it as anxiety in me starts to rise up, and I start to panic. And so when I go into this panic mode, I freeze, and I go into non-motion. I go into static mode. I don't actually move forward anymore. And because of that, I have basically done the exact same thing. And I just recognized that as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, that is exactly what I did, is that I actually started revamping the website. And I said, okay, well, you know what? I really don't like the way it looks anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and rebuy a new template, and it's going to be better than the one we have right now. Actually, it's going to be the official one for the one that I have right now, because I had kind of mirrored somebody else's, and I really wanted the real thing. And so, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to move everything around, and then I'm going to redo it. But what are the things that I needed to get done? I needed to revamp and actually just go with the testimonials I have, and or take them off altogether, whatever way I needed to do that. I needed to go in and record my story so that I could share my story, which in a way I've been working on in the background. I've been going through it in my head and trying to figure out where I wanted to start, because there's so many different parts of a story that you can start at. And there's so many different angles and so many different directions that you can take when you're telling your own story. But I wanted to make sure that I'm telling the right part of my story, that I'm telling the part that makes the biggest impact into what I'm talking about and why I made the changes in the way that I do my business. Not just, here's where I started in the business, here's where I'm at, this is where I'm going. That's fantastic, but that's not where people are going to learn from. So here I am trying to revamp all of this again. And then the last thing I needed to do was to come up with a presentation. And I do have those on point, and I have them uploaded into YouTube, but I haven't gotten past revamping the first page. And so here I am at a standstill again. And here it is Friday, and I am going to have to reach out to him and say, I did not get it done. And I have no excuse, because yes, I had a very, very busy week, but that does not mean anything more than anything. I chose to be, part of it is guilt. I'll say that. So part of it is guilt because I've been doing a lot of extra work over the last couple months. And so as you guys know, I'm a homeschool mom, and I enjoy being home with my son, and I love teaching him. But the problem is that I've been working so much that I'm not home. So then I'm feeling guilty that I'm not home with him, really being attentive and educational, and really just being focused on him the way that I really truly want to be, because I have to split my focus to make money and to be building this, so that basically while the time I'm with him, I'm building as opposed to being able to be with him and actually focusing on him. So I've been giving up the time that I should be focusing and refocusing back in. So last night, my family and I, we watched The Masked Singer together, and I made the conscious decision, because I knew last night I had 24 hours to get this thing up, and I could have gone home and I could have pounded it out and I could have done it, and I didn't. And one of the things that this guy I'm talking about, I was listening to one of his, it's actually an old podcast, but it's where I'm at in his podcast series right now, because like I said, I'm binge listening from the beginning, which is what I do with everybody. Is that just today's podcast that I was listening to, he was talking about that little negative, that little devil that's on your shoulder that mean girl is what a lot of us call it. That mean girl who tells you that you're not good enough. That mean girl who says, oh, you don't really have to do that. That mean girl who says, nobody's listening anyways. Which is what I realized, number one, is what I've been doing with my podcast. I haven't been on here. I haven't been sharing the journey. I haven't been telling you all what's going on, partially because things are not going the way that I expected them to go. And so it makes me feel like a failure. But I also understand that me sharing what's going on in the journey is also more relatable, because then you understand it's not always success up front. It's not on the first try. It's not on the second try. It's not on the third try. It might not be until the 35th or 37th try that you actually have success in what you're doing. But you have to learn from each and every single opportunity. And if you fail, it means that you're trying. If you aren't failing, it means you're not doing anything. You aren't having an opportunity to not win. And you don't have an opportunity to lose or to learn from that. So in a sense, I've failed you at sharing that journey. But I also realize that part of that is creeping up behind me in terms of the launch of this, of the funnel, of our recruiting funnel, because I feel like no one is paying attention. No one's going to get there. No one's going to find out, because I've launched all of these other funnels and no one's paid attention and no one's gone to them and no one's done any of those things. So why would they go and do them now? You know, it's a mind game that your head plays with you. You know, it's a stupid mind games that the mean girl in your life loves to creep up and remind you of. And that mean girl is getting the best of me in some of these formats, and the fact that I'm giving in to the fact that no one's going to show up. But it's not about whether someone shows up. It's about me showing up in the world. It's about me taking the lead and taking the steps forward that I need to take to share my message, to share the really amazing things that I have learned and that I have paid tens of thousands of dollars to learn. And then to share those, because every single time I share those messages, every single time I share all of that stuff, I am ingraining that. I am reinforcing who I am. I am reinforcing that this is what I stand for. This is what I'm showing up for. This is what I believe is the wave. And this is the message. And this is the movement that I am on. And here it is. If you enjoy it, join me, right? So those are the things that I have to show up for. And that is the reason why I got on this podcast today. So my message all boils down to here is, if the mean girl in your life is showing up, you need to recognize the mean girl and tell her to go fly a kite, get off your shoulder and let you do your thing. If the mean girl in your life is keeping or holding you back, you have to recognize that mean girl has showed up, and you have to recognize and start putting into place some of the things that are going to change that. So just getting on this podcast today, which I had no actual intentions for, I had no idea what I'm doing. I'm actually trying to get out of marketing in my car. I actually want to have a better sound quality for you, but the best time for me to do this is in my car. The best time for me to actually share all of my messaging is in the car, because I am a captivated audience to myself. I have the ability to talk and not worry about somebody interrupting me unless somebody decides they want to phone call me, which, you know, every once in a while you guys hear the dee-dee-dee, and that's, you know, someone trying to dial in. But if the mean girl shows up, you have to know what are the next steps. You know, taking a deep breath, taking a hot second, recognizing that the mean girl's there, and realizing, what are you going to do to get past this? You know, as I said, there are some things that I put into place in my personal life in terms of cleanup, and I can tell you they're kind of weird. I mean, just having somebody sitting in the room with me while I can talk to them helps me clean, because I don't get overwhelmed. I'm not focused on what I'm doing. I'm actually focused on having a conversation and just going through the motions of the cleanup. I've done it so many times when I get on a coaching call with a friend or, you know, a sideline or somebody like that, and I'll be talking to them, and then I get into the motion. I'll start folding my laundry and I'll start putting it away, or I'll start cleaning the bathrooms or the kitchens or the sinks or whatever. But it all of a sudden does not become the chore of the task that's in front of me, because my mind is focused on something that is so much greater than me. And so sometimes we have to focus that way. We have to refocus the mean girl and let her know that, you know what, it's not about me. It's about the people that I serve. It's about the people that I'm here. It's for the team that I'm showing up for. And every single person that listens to this podcast, whether they're a part of my personal team, whether they're a sideline or a downline or a cross line, or they're not a part of my team at all, or there's someone who's just listening because they want to find a better way to work in MLM and they're tired of the 1980s old school tactics of bugging their friends and family and messaging hundreds of people every single day, every single week, and following up till the nth degree until their hair turns blue and they're blue in the face and they just can't do it anymore. Those are the people I'm showing up for. I'm showing up for the woman who needs to make a change in her life because she recognizes the fact that she's made sacrifices in her life, whether it be her career because of her children, whether it be because the fact that she doesn't want to work for other people and has made decisions in her life that have caused it so that she doesn't have the backup plan, the plan B. She doesn't have the financials security that she would have if she had just given in to, kill her own pride and work for other people for the rest of her life. That's the woman I'm showing up for, to give her light, to give her joy, to give her the opportunity to realize that this is possible. There are so many possibilities out there, and there's a better way to do it. You don't have to use the old tactics that are just not as effective anymore, that are just spammy, that feel icky, that just make you feel like the salesperson you don't want to be. So there you go, guys. That's what I've got for you, ladies. I hope you are having an amazing holiday season. We are literally 12 days away from Christmas. I am so excited for this year because I actually get to see my niece who's coming over from Spain, which is going to be so much fun. And I am just such an amazing time of the year. This is my favorite time of the year. So ladies, I will talk to you, I promise, extremely soon because I have got so much more to share with you. I've got such an amazing set of messages that are coming at you really soon. I just need to make sure I put it all together. So love you, boss babe. I will talk to you soon. I appreciate you. If you are getting value out of this podcast, whether it be today, yesterday, or days before, please head over to iTunes, head over to Spotify, head over to Anchor FM, and rate and review this for me. Let me know what you are enjoying. If you aren't enjoying it, let me know that too, so that I can step up and be a better leader and I can share more information. If you have questions, if you head over to Anchor.fm and you look up Not Yo Mama's MLM podcast, you can actually send me a message directly and I will answer that for you. I can actually put that recording right into here and I can answer that question live on one of the podcasts. But please rate and review. Help me to bring this podcast to the next level. Help me to bring the feminine movement, the feminine voice stronger in this new wave of MLMers that we have that is an uprising right now. All right, babe, I will talk to you soon. Have a blessed one. Bye.